How would you describe a hair wig in comparison to a hair prosthetic system?
So the hair wigs is like a standard product, is offered on the market in standard size. There are like three sizes: small, medium, large. Our system instead is studied for the client, is completely custom made because you can design the shape of the system, and due to the injection technique that is completely different.
If you're someone coping with a significant amount of hair loss, maybe due to a hair loss condition or from cancer, then you should consider using a hair prosthetic. I spoke to the #1 company in the world developing the most beautiful hair prosthetic systems, and these prosthetic systems do not compare to wigs. I had the opportunity to speak to Angelo de Andre from Italy, who's the CEO, to talk about what CRLabs is doing to rebuild confidence for people who are experiencing hair loss. I would like to hear a little bit about the founding of the CRLabs and where you guys are now in terms of what you're doing to address hair loss.
Yeah, it's a long story because our company is more than 50 years old. This is an intuition of the old owner, because in the past all hair prosthetic are like an evolution of the traditional wigs, and the manufacturer try to improving wigs to improve the aesthetic appearance. Instead, the CNC system have a completely different concept. So we realized like a second skin where are injected all natural virgin hair. And 15 years ago, this represented a revolutionary approach in the market, introducing a prosthetic system that becomes a part of the person. And over the years, what happened? That our commitment was to improve the aesthetic part of this prosthetic. So we focused in every detail to achieve perfection, reducing the thickness of the base, enhancing the natural appearance of the hair distribution, and assuring seamless integration of the prosthetic system with the existing hair.
How would you describe a hair wig in comparison to a hair prosthetic system?
So the hair wigs is like a standard product, is offered on the market in standard size. There are like three sizes: small, medium, large. There are different combination of hair, color, waviness, curly. There are pre-cutted, and the quality of hair is just a little bit different because due to the manufacturing techniques, they used to do some chemical treatment to the hair. They need to remove cuticle. So the quality, even if at the beginning the hair are good, after this chemical process, the quality of hair decreases. Our system instead is studied for the client, is completely custom made because you can design the shape of the system, and due to the injection technique that is completely different to how they realize wigs, give a really natural effect from a visual point of view. And the quality of hair is amazing because we use only virgin, human, unprocessed hair. So there is a completely integration because with their bio hair. So with bio hair of the client and the prosthetic.
What do patients say when they put on these wigs? I'm sure you've had patients who've put on regular hair wigs and then they put on your hair prosthetic. Do they feel completely different?
People become crazy because of, first of all, the quality of hair. In the women market, it's something for which they never find this quality of hair, and they used to say that they never had a system, a prosthetic or something that helped them to solve their problem with this quality of hair.
Now, hair loss is very emotional. I treat a lot of patients who have alopecia areata or androgenetic alopecia who have difficulty regrowing their hair, or they don't want to be on some of these stronger medications. I find that these prosthetics offer a lot of hope to people.
Yeah, we consider that there are some cases where surgery or medicine or trichological treatment are not enough considering the expectation of the client. So we used to say that on the market there are a lot of solutions. What is the best solution? Doesn't exist in theory. So because it's a combination of the existing situation of the client, so which kind of Norwood scale you are, but you need to combine the situation of the client with the expectation of the client. So sometimes even if an hair transplant, a surgery technically is good to is possible, but the client want in natural a huge quantity of hair you can't reach with surgery. So prosthetic are something that help to offer solution, is one of the solution of the market. In some case, for example, in alopecia totalis or fibrosantes frontalis, probably it's the only option.
And by the way, these are hair loss conditions where you lose basically completely all of your hair. So,
Yeah.
as a male, maybe that's okay. It's, there's really a stigma against hair loss for women more than men. So that can have major emotional impacts on females, I think. So you guys are
And
offering a lot
especially,
of hope, essentially, to a lot of these patients.
yeah, we offer in consideration that is completely custom made. We can design, we can take care of all kind of alopecia. We have no limit. And another important point, you mentioned women market. Compared to the other system, we don't need to shape the hair. So if you are in androgenetic situation and you want to go ahead with your medical treatment, you can go ahead. You don't need to shape the hair, and you apply in consideration that is like a second skin that match perfectly with the head of the client. You don't need to shape the hair, and when you take it off, you can go ahead with your medical treatment. So from a psychological point of view for women, it's really important to say you don't need to shape the hair. This is something for which we was as well really much appreciated on the market.
Could you walk us through what the process is in terms of how someone is prepped for one of these prosthetic systems?
So we have more around 200 location where we offer this product.
And
So the
these
client,
locations are at other hair surgeons, dermatologists from around the
we
globe,
are in
essentially.
26. We are in 26 countries. In 11 of them, we are into medical facilities, dermatologist and hair surgeon, because they have an option when hair transplant is not possible, or as I mentioned before, when the expectation of the client are not reachable with an hair transplant. So we are both in dermatologist and hair surgeon doctor in 11 countries, like you mentioned, Guatemala, US, Dominican Republic, East Europe, Italy as
Everywhere,
well,
everywhere.
everywhere. So the process, you go into a consultation, and when the consultant understand the expectation of the client, the process is simple. We have a 3D scan for which we take the shape of the hair and we draw the shape of the system we are going to shape. After the client looking a book could choose the density, the curly, the waviness, the texture of the hair, the density. We can customize, for example, for men, you can do different level of gray hair on the side compared to the general. So you can customize everything. It's something tailor-made. After this image is sent electronically to the Italian factory, and in the same time the worksheet with all the characteristics chosen by the client was sent, and start the manufacturing process that it takes almost 3 months.
It's a long process, and that's because this is a handmade product, essentially.
It's completely handmade. We have just one phase that is not manual because we reproduce in the factory with a robot the head of the client. So with the scan image, we reproduce a 3D head of the client that is a piece of work where we spread the resin to have the same conformation of the scalp. After that, start the 39 phase of production.
Now, I have a
There
question.
are
I
like,
have a question for you. Is there a reason
yeah,
why this is an Italian company?
because it's artisan. It's like a sweet, no? A lot of details is something unbelievable. First time I visit the factory before I was really impressed because it's unbelievable. For someone that doesn't know how it's made, it's something unbelievable to see the 39 phases of production. 50 of them are really small phases, but where you take care of some small detail to give an amazing aesthetical result.
So now these prosthetics, they get delivered to these medical practices or these other locations. The patient is then fitted. How does the fitting process work? Do they have to change these prosthetics on a monthly basis in terms of cleaning the scalp?
Yeah, our protocol, we have a really strong protocol because even if the prosthetic have some micro hole, it's clear that is not 100% breathable. So according with the scalp condition, before applying the prosthetic, we conduct a tricho test where we analyze the scalp condition, if you are oily, if you are dry scalp. According with that, we choose the proper adhesive. We have the liquid and solid adhesive, are all medical grade. So we choose the proper adhesive, and according with the situation, we suggest 3 or 4 weeks for a service. We take it off with a proper solvent, the prosthetic. After we hygienize the scalp, we have an hygienizing shampoo and some special product to take care of the scalp. We clean very well the prosthetic. We used to put it on in an ultrasonic bath to remove each kind of bacteria. So we take care of the scalp in a maniacal way, I used to say. It's really important.
I think what you're really emphasizing here is that this is not just a beauty product. This is very much a medical product, and it seems like the company really takes a medical lens when it comes to addressing hair loss with these hair systems. It's not just
Yeah.
make the wig and you're done. It's really we have to make sure we're analyzing the scalp, we're taking care of the scalp in the proper way.
Yeah, when we approach new market, we see really red scalp. So we start to training our partner in how much is important to take care of the scalp. You mentioned Sims Medical. In Italy, it's considered as registered as a medical device, so it can be prescribed by doctor in Italy with all the advantage for the client with lower VAT, it can deduct from taxes, so it's really a medical device.
How about in the U.S. or in the U.K.?
Hey, in the UK, they have just some reduction when they import as a medical device. So, and unfortunately, in US there are not assurance that in Italy we have worker. In Italy, the insurance, the ILT is paid by the state, so it's you need to pay, but you can deduct some expenses where you use some medical device.
Okay, so now you're wearing this hairpiece.
Yeah.
What can they do and what can't they do? Because when I spent time with Dr. Maria Schambach, who is one of the hair surgeons in Guatemala that loves your system, I learned that you can go on a boat, you can jump into the ocean, you can take a shower. What can't you do with this system?
With the system, you can do whatever you want. I used to say that we have a professional soccer player. We have someone that compete in Ironman races. So you can highly active lives without any limitation. We regularly receive videos and posts from our client, really happy diving into pools, going to the sauna, boating, skydiving. So because the CNC prosthetic become a part of them, allowing them to live their lives normally and worry-free.
I think that's a beautiful thing because, one of the downsides to wearing a wig is you have to take it off at the end of the day. This becomes very much part of your whole body. Probably in some senses of the word, you forget you're wearing a prosthetic at some point because you don't ever have to take it off, really.
Yeah, this is one of the sentences that some clients say. After a couple of days, because at the beginning it's real, no? That is something new. But after a couple of days, they used to say, it's a part of me. I forget it to wear something.
That's beautiful. And I'm sure for you, that's very rewarding and for everyone that works at the company.
Yeah, it's we love when some client send us this testimonial.
So where do you think prosthetics are going? Do you think there's a growing market around the globe for these systems?
You know that in the past years, alopecia grew, especially in women, a lot. So in the past years, the market grew, especially for a women market. From my point of view, traveling all over the world, in some countries, more and more people are using prosthetic not only to solve a baldness problem, but as well for aesthetic. Especially Brazil, North Europe, they used to wear a prosthetic to increase the volume of the hair because they don't like their thinning hair, they want a different texture of the hair. So the market is growing because aesthetic is growing, the physical aspect is growing, a lot of people take care of the aesthetic part. Is like aesthetic medicine, no? It's growing. We are on the same market.
I agree. I think hair. There's been a lot of focus on dermatology for a long time, and obviously plastics. But there's an increasing interest in preserving hair, having luscious hair, and I really do think you're right that the prosthetics are becoming increasingly more important. Because people want to have more luscious, thick hair, even if it's not necessarily their own hair per se. Now, I'm interested in another thing. Where does this hair come from? Where do you source this hair from, and how do you get people to give you so much hair?
Yeah, the hair market is strange. At the beginning, we used to buy from European countries, European source. But when we become an international company, we are in 26 countries, now we need to buy hair all over the world. We used to buy in Brazil because in Brazil there are some very beautiful curly brown hair. We used to buy some Indian hair, specific part of India that are Caucasian original because are beautiful black hair. Sometimes few quantity we buy as well from Asia for people that want a black thinning hair. So now that we are serving 26 countries in the world, we need to have a mix, a completely different mix. Because everyone used to say European hair to focus on the quality of hair, but it's not true. The quality of the hair are unprocessed hair. So we are really strict on control of the hair because the hair that we buy never had chemical treatment in the past. We used to wash all the hair. We have as well some equipment to test the keratin level in order to use really unprocessed hair.
And how long does this hair last when you put these prosthetic systems together? You create a whole system. How long can you wear this as a client until you have to replace the system?
Depends how much you take care, because clearly if you start typically what men are a nightmare. They used to take a shower, scratch the head with the towels, and the hair broken like our bio hair. Unfortunately, bio hair regrow in the prosthetic. No, men don't use conditioner. don't use restructuring product. So if you take care, you can stay at least 1 year without any problem. It's like someone when some new partner ask me how is the life of the system. I used to say how is the life of a jacket. Depends how much you take care. If you go play soccer with a beautiful pair of shoes, probably 1 week.
Okay, I understand.
But it's longer. It's longer compared to the existing system on the market. The typical are 2-3 months.
Okay,
And another big difference is that our system could be repaired. So when you start to losing hair, you can send back to the factory and we refurbish it.
it
Re-injecting
sounds
hair.
for the most part that the customers and the patients that use your product are committed lifelong to using these systems.
Yeah. In general, for all the life. Typically.
Anything that a patient should think about in terms of hair growth underneath the system, or if they have any scalp conditions, anything that they have to think about while they're wearing these prosthetics. I know that they get cleaned every single month or every other month, right?
Yeah, you can, if you have your existing hair, there are no problem, because when we take the scan of the head, if there are existing hair, we copy. So the system could be applied without any problem. You can continue to go have your medical treatment. So there are no issue. You could be completely bald, or you can have hair. The system works well in both conditions. This is probably another way why a lot of doctors introduce in their clinic, because they continue to provide their medical treatment to the client.
And finally, Angelo, what excites you most? Why are you in this space? Why prosthetics? What gets you up in the morning? What makes you excited about this?
For myself, you mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I have a completely different background. I work in pharmaceutical food company. When I visit this company, I remain really impressed from the production process. And after that, when I visit some center that provide this solution, I feel something that I'm doing something to help people. So there is an emotional part that is unbelievable. You can find in other company. So if you produce food, yes, could be good, but you don't feel what is the reaction of the final client. As well in the other companies where you manufacture something. Yes, you can evaluate what you made, but you now don't have this direct contact with client. There is an emotional part in this business that is unbelievable, really unbelievable. You really understand that you help people to transform their life. A lot of women start to cry, start to hug you, send the billion of email to thank you. So there is a part of this job that I love very well, the human part.
Well, Angelo, this was wonderful. I'm excited to welcome the CRLabs system into our practice in the near future. I think this is going to be a big game changer, and it's going to, as you alluded, it's going to give a lot of patients a tremendous amount of confidence. So I want to thank you so much for being on the podcast today. If you enjoyed what you watched, please hit subscribe. If you have any questions for me or Angelo, who is the CEO of CRLabs, we will make sure to reach out to you. And if you're interested in any prosthetics, this is the company to go to. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to listen to the next episode.